whenever there is a podcast or an interview featuring Shebeshit, we already know what the context is going to be. It's always going to be him trying to justify the rude and violent behavior he, gives to his fans. So in this segment that we're going to watch, we're going to listen to him again trying to explain why he beats up his fans in his own opinion. But according to me, there's definitely no way that he can justify assaulting people. But let's just hear what he has to say.
Mo video ngele na go leba tšeo tla pa daman na tla ka dilo tse dingwe o bontsha video ya accident le ma tagal
babo go re wa tsaro ba di eng bra wa bona nna ke tsebo re wa la bo ba bonwela nna o re o di ala wa bona so bra fan me gona le topic tse dingwe na pe e ke tile event ngere ke tile mmereko
o tilogi ke spane diteng
motho o tata yena o re ke tilo tlo tawa o mo a msho ibile o re ke tilo to mo ga fela jamano
o no phaphela
so wa bona motho ga thoma touch subject ya tswa le accident.
Okay, now I understand that this is a very sensitive topic and it's very painful to be in, and I understand where he's coming from, but at the end of the day, he is somebody who is on the spotlight, and it's not like you don't have a choice. You understand? A lot of times celebrities kind of make it seem like they don't have a choice. They don't have any other option than being famous, right? As much as you got famous, you didn't plan to be famous, but it's actually what you do that keeps you famous. So if you're not happy with the spotlight, because you know that especially if you're dealing with drunk people, if you're dealing with people in clubs and all of that, they're definitely gonna push your buttons and they're gonna try by any means to, just make you break character. And it's very important as a person who is considered as a public figure to be able to handle yourself in situations like this. Shebeshit is not the first celebrity to go through a tragedy. A lot of people have went, through tragedies and everything. And in most cases, it's quite advisable to just lay low until you feel like you've kind of healed in a way. So with Shebeshit, he never gave himself that opportunity to heal. I think that's purely based on what I think. He has never given himself that opportunity to heal from losing, his daughter. He just straight up went into the spotlight again and started meeting people. To me, I feel like this is basically him still hating. It's him dealing with the trauma. I feel like he is trying to deal with the trauma the best way that he can. So at the end of the day, he ends up assaulting people and beating up people. We know that people will always try to push your buttons and they live for it. Basically, there are people who are just out there waiting for you to have, a bad, a downfall moment, to just kind of fall down so that they can kick you while you are down. So I feel like Shebeshit has been giving them that power for quite a long time. So for the fact that he went straight to waking after losing his daughter, I still feel like he could have just stayed down a bit to kind of heal in a way. I know you can never heal from such a thing, but he could have just given himself time. Now he is a bit vulnerable, and I understand that he's hating, but that still does not excuse beating people up and doing all of that just because you're hating. Because at the end of the day, you made a choice to be a public figure, meaning that you gotta be able to deal with whatever comes with being a public figure. You understand what I'm saying? So that's basically what I think. I know that this is a very painful situation for him, but he could have laid low. He could still, just give himself time to heal rather than just going back to the spotlight again and dealing with all of these people. Some of them don't want to see him there, so they're gonna do everything in their power to kind of bring him down. So I feel like that's basically what I feel. I feel like this is a painful situation, but it's still not an excuse to act this way, especially if you are a public figure.
Just more
discharge of firearm.
Wa kusho re diala e sta bo re mbara a wona motho tja bo tso lo re mbara fan me if lo re ke be ke sa tja bo tsa yana bra ga bona if lo re ke tile ke re ke to betha nga so be thampe me wana ga o lesa
ene mpa ma ya go gala se re
ene le di video ke ya re bana ba ba loyi ba di crop ga motho tja video ke sa tswella gate mara
bana ba ntsha party ya
mpam sinyetja ba ba tje yawa
ko video ele ya ba ona ba nametse pholo ya hao ko bonnet ba ikhawata ba di bontshitse
bro.
Once you make a decision to stay on the spotlight, you gotta be ready to deal with, you know, all kinds of people, especially in South Africa. You know, South Africa kind of has a lot of crazy people, you know, if I may put it that way. So they react towards certain things in a very weird way. So if you were to stay in the spotlight, you gotta be ready to deal with it. And I feel like Shebeshit needs to have, you know, just a few advisors just so that they can advise him on how to carry himself in public, because at the end of the day, you know, the people who make you are your fans. So I feel like he needs to take a step back and just reassess the whole thing. And I know people will hate me for that, but at this point, Shebeshit is not an upcoming artist. He is a big deal, and he cannot keep like doing all of this and trying to justify this wrong behavior. There are kids who look up to him, there are people who look up to him, and if he continues in this violent manner, that's basically the kind of nation that we are raising, because we have kids who look up to Shebeshit and potentially they want to be like him one day. So he needs to take a step back and just, you know, refine himself as an artist, because I feel like this is just doing too much, and we cannot keep on hearing the same stories over and over again. Every single time he assaults a fan, he goes to podcasts and say, you know, the people started it with him or anything. There have been a lot of celebrities who have been, you know, insulted. We know Casper Nyovesta has been insulted a lot of times. A lot of artists have been insulted. Even Aries was insulted at a point, but we have never seen them react violently towards the people, especially in public. So I feel like he needs to understand that just because he has, you know, this fame and everything, it doesn't mean that he should act violently, because at the end of the day, people look up to him, and you cannot keep attacking fans. These are the people that made you, and eventually they will realize the toxic person that you are and stop supporting you. For now, it's all fun and games. I understand people will always pride themselves that we don't care what he does and everything, but eventually those people will grow up and they will realize that actually this person, it's he is not really a nice person. He's basically a toxic person and he's violent. So I hope one day people will realize that, because for now, there are still a lot of people that, you know, attack you whenever you make an opinion about Chebeshe. They basically don't want you to, you know, speak about him. So we are practically not allowed to speak about Chebeshe. Whenever we make a video about Chebeshe, there is always people in the comment section fighting, although we are speaking on something that's actually true, and that's something that everybody knows. You understand? It's not like we are speaking based on opinions. We're speaking based on proof. We are speaking based on facts that we see being published all over, and he himself doesn't deny that he assaults these people. So eventually people will realize how toxic Shebeshit is. For now, I know it's practically just the face, and there will come a time where that face, you know, passes.
Braga. And oro level Braga, Kuluela Brafan me is le 5 days.
Ape kulele 1.2 million. Asore ke kula bafana.
Yeah, we kusho rudi ala Brafan me
and again, there's, like I said, he needs to refine this whole thing. There's a reason why these famous people always have like securities, and then they always secured and everything. Shebeshe doesn't move like a famous person. I know he doesn't wanna live like a famous person, but as much as he still has that mentality of, you know, behaving like an ordinary person, this is gonna happen. Because as a person who's famous, as a person who's driving this expensive car, it's very important that you have a driver, you know, a person who drives you to your gigs and everything, so that you don't have to drive yourself. This is one of the reasons why he, you know, gets into accidents and everything, is because he handles everything himself. So I feel like he still needs a little bit of advice on how to carry himself as a public figure, because everything that we see these famous people do, there is a reason behind that. There's a reason they have security. There's a reason, you know, they travel, you know, with cars being driven to events, basically. So there's a reason behind everything that these famous people are doing. Imagine if maybe Drake was to drive himself every time, what was gonna happen? You know, the traffic, the people that were going, the crowd that was gonna gather around him. So it's very important to take these precautionary measures that I feel like Shebeshe is avoiding, and I don't know why he's avoiding all these precautionary measures, because right now, like I said, he is no longer an upcoming artist. He is a very big artist in South Africa, so he needs to treat himself as that.
o nagane goreng
I think Shebeshit needs to understand that one day people will actually retaliate, and maybe one day somebody will actually fight back, and that could cost him his life. Because this thing of, fighting, especially when you're fighting drunk people and everything, right now he's just using the fact that he is a popular person and he has all his goons with him always, so they protect him and they jump to his defense. And he also has this crazy cult-like fan base that like supports everything that he does, and each and every single time he does something like this, his fans will always find a way to, try to explain. They will say, what did that person do to Shebeshit and whatever, as if that justifies him being violent towards fans, especially the fact that he is a public figure. He's a big artist in South Africa. So he needs to learn that one day this could end badly for him. You understand? It won't always be like this. And he needs to know that eventually we will outgrow this whole violent act thing. You understand? Because we are growing up also. We won't always like this violence and everything. Right now, yes, he's popular. He is popular for that. People like him for that because they like this Kasi type of persona that he has. But people will eventually outgrow that, and the things that we are gonna remember is every bad thing that he did. He should like take a step down. I feel like he's still heading from losing his daughter. That's totally understandable, but he jumped into the spotlight very early. He could have given himself time to heal, because right now that's still a very big sensitive topic, and people will obviously use that, bro. You have a lot of enemies out there, so people will definitely use that. You're basically giving them an opportunity to to hurt you. So that's basically what I think. We understand what he's going through, but that does not justify the bad treatment that he keeps giving his fans, because he was violent towards people way before he even lost his daughter. So what was the reason behind that? You understand? I feel like right now he's just trying to make excuses, and he's not trying to take accountability for the bad behavior that he gives people. So that's basically what I think at this point. Let me know what are your thoughts in the comment section. Till next time, peace.